homes, our local communities, everywhere we live, work, and play. Let's dive right into today's Making a Difference conversation. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Michelle Hill with Southern Inspirations, and I'm so excited to be here for another episode of Making a Difference with my friend and special guest, Addie Lee Hention. Addie, welcome. It's been too long, sister.
Thank you. I know, right? It's been too long since we have seen each other, but I'm happy that we're laying eyes on each other right now. And thank you for having me on the show. Thank you. I'm
You are
honored. Thank you.
so welcome. We're going to have such a good time, and I'm just so honored that you accepted the invitation to do this. I know that I'm going to be blessed, and I know for individuals watching, they are going to be blessed as you just share part of your journey. You talk about your book. And before we get too far, I do want to acknowledge, recognize, and thank individuals who have already joined. I do see a couple of folks have already joined. So please drop a comment, say hello, let us know where you're watching for. We love and we need that engagement. So I just wanted to recognize you folks. Addie, we're going to dive right in. Now, titled this Living a Genuine Life, and that is part of the subtitle of your book, and I just can't wait to share the bones of the book. But before we do, I want folks to know a little more about Addie. I posted your bio, but it's always best to come directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Right.
Tell us more about you, and then kind of bring us to what ultimately led to you writing this book, and then we're going to dive into that.
All right. Thank you. I am a native of Detroit, Michigan. I was born and raised there for many years. So I've seen every season. The one thing I like about Michigan is that you actually experience every season: winter, spring, summer, and fall. And you really experience winter. I mean, literally the snow, the ice, everything. But I migrated there with my two children after being newly divorced. I migrated from there to Mississippi, and that's where I met you.
That's
And I
right.
ended up in Mississippi. I was working with a ministry, a sister church there for a little bit. And I no longer work with them, but I stayed there and made a living there in Mississippi for a while. And then I sensed this urgency that I needed to come to Atlanta, Georgia. And that is a story all by itself. But after coming to Atlanta, Georgia, my sister, who was already living here, she passed away. And I ended up taking in my nephew, me and my now husband, Michael. I met him after I got here. So I didn't come here looking for a man.
I could tell a story about
Yeah,
that
yeah,
too,
yeah,
but I
yeah. Right.
digress.
Yeah, after I got here, I met my wonderful husband, and together we have a blended family of six. He has
Wow.
two other older sons and his daughter, Kayla, and I have my two older children, and we have our nephew, Gabriel, that we took in. And I just been enjoying life here and experiencing blessings and favor in my life since I've came. And life has had its challenges like it does for everybody. Like I said, after I moved here, I lost actually my mom passed away and my sister. And I ended up going back to Detroit for a short time to deal with that when my mother passed away. But life happens and you get through it. And so we're here today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you will probably get into part of this when we
Mhm.
start talking about the book, but um, you mentioned your nephew Gabriel, and you brought him into your home and essentially became his mom, his caretaker.
Right.
sister passed away. And I just wanted to share that now because I encourage folks to go watch your very poignant, very touching, very transparent video that you did about that on YouTube. Y'all jot that down to go check that out later on Addie's channel, because that's part of your story.
Right.
And part of living this genuine, blessed, and fearless life, because there you were, newly moved, still newly, somewhat newly moved. If it's just been a few years, it's still newly in my book. And of course, this death of your sister, and you're thrust into having yet another child in your home on top of your already blended family. So, wow. Just wanted to mention that. And again, I know we're going to kind of get in that more. So with that in mind, what are some of the things, Addie, that happened? I guess, how did you feel a prompting or a calling to begin to jot down some of your thoughts and write a book? There's so many people I know that we all know that always say, I want to write a book, or I should write a book, and so I know that you're going to be such a source of encouragement to people. But share with us a little bit of what even prompted the thought in your mind and your heart of, gosh, I need to put pen to paper.
Right. Well, I've been an inspirational writer for a long time. I used to have two blogs. One was called Midnight Oil, and the other one was called Healing Oil. And those devotionals got started through a network that I used to be a part of called mjesus.com. So if you will remember when we had AOL, I would get on AOL and connect to mjesus.com that way. And I would type up the word for the day that God put on my heart for Healing Oil and Midnight Oil. I did them simultaneously. I alternated between the two, and I would send it out. And I had something like 200 some odd subscribers to both of those blogs, and it blessed and administered to people. And also, once I got on Facebook, and it took my two older adult children to convince me to get out there on Facebook, and then two friends from Mississippi, because I was like, I don't know about that Facebook stuff. But once I got out there, I saw it as an opportunity to use my gift of writing and inspiration and encouragement to share with other people. So I've been doing that for wow, maybe 10 years now.
Mhm.
And during that time, I did start a book. I don't even remember what the title was. I did start a book around 2011. I got to chapter 5 and stopped. And at that time, I was talking to my mother-in-law about it. And she said, my ex-mother-in-law about it. And she said, well, Addie, maybe God is not through doing some stuff in your life. Maybe there's some things that you have yet to experience and live through before you can write your book. And doggone it, she was right. She hit it on the nail. So we will fast forward to 2019. I attended a writing and publishers workshop at World Changers in College Park, Georgia. And it was a workshop where they met for 8 weeks on a Saturday for a few hours. And during that time, we talked about all things writing, the birth of your writing vision, your target audience, who you're trying to reach, why you want to write the book, having a strong why. They would bring in guest speakers to talk to us and encourage us about writing, about the purpose of being authentic, and writing and publishing tools that we needed to help us to be successful. But prior to that workshop, the title and the vision for Highlight Reel came to me in the fall of 2018. So I had the title and the subtitle at the latter part of 2018, but I didn't develop it and began to write the book and until March of 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was, when was it released, Addie?
Let's see. It was released this year.
That's what I was thinking.
This
Yeah.
year. So it took about a year. About
Yeah.
a
And
year.
it's on Amazon,
It's on
right?
Amazon. It's on Amazon. It's on Books and Millions website and Barnes and Noble's website.
Oh gosh, I love it. I know that I've got it at the top of the screen, but I want to pop it up in the middle of us real quick. I want folks to get a good view of what it looks like, so when they go to order it, they get the right thing. Let me pull that up real quick. I love those, just the colors. I mean, it's eye catching, and I really like the subtitle, and I just can't wait to hear more about where that even came from. And by the way, I've still got to get my copy, but I have to have an autograph.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
We'll have to figure that out. Just tell me what I need to do to get my autograph copy so I can get to reading it. Okay, go ahead. I wanted folks to have a good visual.
Okay. The colors of that book, actually, I have a close friend on Facebook. Her husband is a graphic designer. He's an artist, and I've seen some of his work posted on Facebook. So I reached out to her about designing the front cover for the book. And what I did was I shared my concept with him, how I wanted the front cover of the book to be like a movie reel. It didn't look like what you see in the beginning, but he was very masterful in taking that idea that I gave him and transforming into what you see on the screen right now.
That's
And
awesome.
and of course, he had to make sure that the photos were not a copyright violation, because that's a part of the writing process also. You want to make sure that nothing is a copyright violation. And then once I met with my publisher, who was an awesome lady, an awesome woman of God. Her publishing company, they took the cover design and they had to stretch it a little bit to make it fit the size of my book. And it just looks perfect, and the colors pop. And I'm just really grateful for how things had came together with that. Now, the subtitle was something that I deliberated over. I had highlight reel locked in for a few
Mhm.
months, but the subtitle, I had to work that out for a little bit. And the inspiration for that comes from something my mother said. When my mother was still living and before she passed away, she said to me, Addie, don't just go to work, church, and come back home and that be all you do. Live. So
Oh.
I camped out on that word live. And I says, okay. So highlight reel, living life, genuine, blessed, and fearless. And that subtitle is resilient to how I live my life. I try to be genuine, and I am blessed, and I am fearless, because I've walked through some things in the face of fear, and I've had to do some things afraid. I've heard Bible teacher Joyce Meyer say, do it afraid. And so I've done a lot of things scared.
Right.
And, fear is something that'll never go away. You just have to face it and
Mhm.
walk through your fears. And so there you have it, living life genuine. It's important that you be authentic to who you are, blessed and fearless.
Wow, I really like that. That's neat what she said to you. That was like speaking life that helped you land on what that subtitle needed to be. That's so
Right,
neat how God will use people like that. Because like you said, you hadn't landed on it yet. So you never know when God might be stirring up something over here for just the right time to release to us.
right.
So, Addie, share with us a little excerpt or a little, Cliff Notes version, if you will, of the book itself.
Let me see here. I have it right here with me.
I'm
uh,
shocked.
yeah, shocked, right? Right, right. Um, I want to read an excerpt from page 82 of my book, and it comes from the chapter 7, entitled To Be Real. And
Be real.
to be real, that's it.
I mean, I
That's,
couldn't resist it.
that's what motivated me. That song right there. That song right
Chapter
there.
7, page 82.
Yeah, chapter 7, page 82.
I'm putting it in the notes. To be real.
That's it. That's it.
All afternoon.
And the subtitle is Everyone Else is Taken. So I want to
Ooh.
read a little bit of this. I once saw a quote on social media that says, "Be yourself. Everyone else is taken." I do not know who the originator of the quote is, but it speaks volumes. Trying to be like somebody else is like trying to fit into an outfit that is tailor made for another person. Your life will not fit into a script that is designed for someone else. There is no one size fits all when it comes to being who you are designed to be. The struggle is real, to be real. When you are taunted by a past full of secrets, hurt, pain, rejection, abuse, and failure. The things that taught you make you feel like you can never get over them. As mentioned in previous chapters, I had to get over being called slow, bullied, rejected, and disappointed. I had to get over feeling like a failure in situations that did not work out. Negative life experiences can beat you down and make you feel ashamed, and you end up hiding the real you underneath a wardrobe of layers. And I'm going to skip down a little bit to this third paragraph, and it says, I want you to realize there is no one like you on the planet. You are a designer original. One major thing that makes each of us original is our finger and footprints. Unless something is done to alter those prints, our finger and footprints are not the same. This is amazing in and of itself. So many people struggle with identity because they do not like themselves. Not liking yourself is self-hatred. It is saying, I wish I was not me. I wish I could be somebody else. This self-hatred can come from circumstances beyond our control or bad decisions made while trying to find our way. And I want to end with this. Trust me when I tell you that it's important to speak positive words to describe and highlight yourself. It will lift you up. When you speak life over yourself, it is like charging a car battery. You will be able to go the extra mile.
Ooh. I liked all of that, but I really liked that one that you ended on. I could listen to you read the whole book. Have you done an audio version yet?
No, not yet.
Yeah, you're going to have to do that because your voice is so calming and so genuine and so heartfelt. Like I can feel the book who you're reading. I mean, I truly can. So I hope there's going to be an audio version too.
Okay. I will
Sure.
take that under consideration because I
Yeah.
have a family friend who jokes that he can't read, so he's waiting on the audio version.
See there, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Friend Loretta picks on me about saying, just saying. Haven't
Right.
been a long time. Thank you for sharing that. So, you mentioned being called slow, being bullied.
Yeah.
That brings up just a interesting dynamic, Addie, that probably, I won't say 100% of the people, but I would bet that a large population of people, including myself, have something like that from our childhood, something that is spoken into our spirit that was negative. For me, I was called Four Eyes. I mean, here I am with these are my readers on
Mm-hmm.
facts, but from a very, very young age, I was in glasses, and we're talking about the thick, this is a water bottle, but Coke bottle, thick glasses. And so I struggled with that for a very, very long time, among other things that were said and done to me. So speak to that a little bit. I just think that's so powerful. And one of those things, and you even said, I had to get over that.
I did. There was an incident in elementary school where they were having PE session, and I don't remember what period it was. That was many, many years ago. But the gym teacher would section off the kids, in groups. So group one and group two, we'll just use that as an example. So
Uh-huh.
say the game that we were playing was uh, dodgeball.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of my least favorite games, by the way. And so, the one team, they throw the ball, the other team has to dodge the ball being thrown at them. Now, I was athletically deficient. I was. I just wasn't a fast runner, jumper, that kind of thing. And I would get harassed and picked on by some of the kids. But what made it worse is when the teacher joined in with them, because a teacher should motivate you and
Right.
encourage you, not help to discourage you, not help to make fun of you. So
Right.
I would like sweep that under the rug, and my folks never know that I've dealt with those buried feelings, on top of being bullied by two little boys. But they got caught, and one of the boys, their parents came up to the school, and back then, you could spank your kids at the school back then. And his
Right.
father took him in another room and laid him out and said, I don't ever want to hear about you touching a girl again. We do not hit women, you know.
Right.
Whereas the other guy, he tried to keep doing it, but he ended up being suspended from school, and so dealing with that and having that stigma in my mind. So here I am, a young adult, and opportunities come up to play volleyball, baseball, and I didn't want to play. And people would be like, "Well, what's wrong with you?" Because I was still dealing with the stigma from
Right.
what happened to me in elementary school, you
Mhm.
know. And so it takes a minute to get that out of you, but
Right.
first you have to acknowledge that that hurt and pain is there. And that's where the healing begins. And then being able, in addition to talking to God, talking to somebody that you trust to help you work through that. And so
Right.
I'm a big advocate that, in addition to prayer, yes, pray. Yes, yes, read the word. Yes, meditate on scripture. But in addition to that, if you need therapy, if you need counseling, get it. There is nothing unspiritual about therapy and counseling. As a matter of fact, the Bible talks about there's wisdom in counsel, but it has to be the right counsel.
Right.
So,
Right. Absolutely. Goodness gracious, you have had quite the journey for sure.
mhm.
Um, Tell us a little bit how Gabriel is doing, how, your blended family. I know you've been married for a few years now, but that's a challenge. It just is. And so, and that goes right back to your subtitle. You are, even though you may have challenges and you walk through the path of divorce, through the path of death, all of these things, you are living this wonderful, blessed life with Michael and the rest of your family. So
Right.
speak. I want folks just to be encouraged, because we all know we can find ourselves at any given time in the muck, in the mire, whether it's something we've caused on our, brought on ourselves, whether we didn't. There are those times where we can just feel like, oh, I'm stuck. Lord, will it ever get any better?
Mhm.
What do you say to folks to encourage them, just from your own experience, that yes, the promises will be fulfilled?
Right. Well, life is full of unexpectancies. Just look at this year that we're living in alone. None of the things that we have seen I don't think anybody had that on their vision board. I don't think anybody had that written down in their journals and their diaries, to face a pandemic and all the other things that have happened in this current year that we're living in. But you have to have faith that's unwavering. And that's what has kept me is my faith. It's not what exactly somebody taught me in a church. And yes, I've learned, nuggets of wisdom from family, from my dad, who's a former elder, from other people in ministry, and just people that God brought across my life at the right time. But there's nothing like having faith, because you can't live off of somebody else's faith. You have to develop your own faith and have a faith that doesn't waver, because we're not promised a perfect life. We're not promised a life without tests and trials and storms, and without any kind of uh, uh, just perfect. We're not promised perfect, but we are promised that God will always be with us. He will never leave us. He will never forsake us. And He has given us the power, each one of us. We have inside of us a strength to endure and to withstand whatever life throws at us, whatever curved balls are aimed at us. We have an inner strength that God has given us. Like we've had it said, you don't know how strong you are until you have to be strong.
Yeah.
And so, we might complain about going through something, but you look back and you can see, wait a minute, I went through it.
Right.
You made through
Exactly.
it.
Yep.
I came out on the other side, you know. So I have to realize that greater is He, the God that I serve on the inside of me, than
Mhm.
he that is of this world, the circumstances, the challenges, and the situations that are of this world. And to keep it real, sometimes we put ourselves in situations when we don't make the best decisions, when we don't make the right choices.
Right.
But even then, God's grace is sufficient.
Yes.
When we go to Him and we say, okay, that wasn't the best thing to do, that wasn't the best choice to make, God help me, He'll help you.
Right.
And I'm a witness to that. I'm a witness to both sides of the coin. I really am.
Absolutely. Wow. Wonderful answer to my question. Thank you so much, Addie. I love what you've done again, just with being transparent, your willingness to share your life, to open up old wounds, so to speak, and to allow God to use those to touch other people. And I know that He's doing that. Anything else that you would like to share before we wrap up?
Um, I know there's some people out there who have a book inside of them. And what I want to say to you is, get you a notebook, start writing down thoughts and ideas as they come to you, and pray and ask God how you should move forward in writing the book. Um, you have the idea, but it's important that you have a vision for that book, not just an idea, because without a vision, we perish.
Right.
That's scripture. Without a vision, we perish. So start writing down ideas that come to you. Write down what your vision is for the book, what you want to gain from it, what you want to accomplish, the lives that you want to touch and reach. Write your vision down. The platforms you want to be able to go in after you write the book. That's so important that you write the vision and make it plain, you know, because that'll give you something to stand on as you go through that process. And don't be hard on yourself. when you start to write, just write. You know, don't try to be an editor and a writer at the same time. Just write. Just write and deal with all that other stuff later, you know. And don't worry about the market being saturated and everybody's writing a book. First of all, that's not true. Everybody is not writing a book. Okay. You just write what God has put in your heart to write, whether it's sharing your story, whether it's a book that you want to write for battered women, a cookbook, a book about educating homeschool children, whatever is in your heart. Write that book, and somebody is going to be blessed by it. Somebody needs what God has on the inside of you. So don't think that your story doesn't matter. Yes, your story does matter, and someone's waiting to hear it.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Addie. Wow, good stuff. I've enjoyed this so much. I knew I would. Thank you again for your time, for doing this. I'm so glad to be connected with you in this space. I hope that one day we can do this sitting in the same room together. That would be lovely.
Thank you.
Work on that. For you watching, thank you as well for joining. Would you share this? Would you just hit the share button on the Facebook page if that's where you're watching, and share it with other people? I know there's someone out there that could use this encouraging word. Subscribe to Addie's YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, so that you can continue to be blessed and encouraged, and to help us spread this. So with that, I thank you again. Have a blessed afternoon and a wonderful rest of your week. And I will see you at 6 o'clock tonight, Central Time. I will have a guest who has been living with arthritis for many, many years. He's going to speak to several items about that, the early stage, symptoms. He's going to talk about advocacy and really just educate us on arthritis and what it is to live with it. So y'all tune in at 6 o'clock Central if you can catch that one. So with that, we'll call it. Thank you again, Addie. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.